Hi, this is Phil Potempa. Welcome to another edition of Notoriety. Each week we bring you everything you want to make sure that is not to be missed, and everything happening in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, and beyond. And of course, it's the broadcast equivalent of all of the feature stories, columns you'll read in print editions of the flagship Post Tribune underneath the umbrella of Chicago Tribune Media. Some of you are tuned in through our traditional radio airwaves. So we want to make sure we put a stamp on this. The stamp being that today is we're recording and capturing our broadcast on Tuesday, September the 2nd, 2025, so just the day after Labor Day, in case it's a rebroadcast. Others or maybe are finding it through a streaming on social media, so you've stopped along to see what the part of the conversation is for this week. Every week we want to thank also our generosity of our sponsors for these past 8 years that we've been here on the air. As we come to you from our WJOB Strachan Van Til Studios in Hammond, we thank the generosity of the folks that have supported, such as the Legacy Foundation. Indiana Arts Commission has always been a great supporter over the years, and especially People's Bank, our neighbor right across the parking lot. They make this broadcast possible. I'm being joined here with a couple of co-hosts to help with my hosting duties today. Luke Miller, thank you for coming back again.
Good morning, good morning.
And radio personality that is a long part of the heritage and the legacy of these airwaves, Tony Panek.
The day after Labor Day, I'm not wearing any white, and I'm ready to rock and roll here.
And all three of us had these. If you're tuned in and you have the advantage of our video cameras in our studio here, we have these paper cardboard fans there that were used to keep us cool. Just a few weeks ago when we were, I can't believe it's been this long ago, I guess almost nearly a month ago, Monday, August the 11th, there was a fantastic preview courtesy of Broadway in Chicago. It's their annual summer concert preview at Millennium Park. They handed out these little handheld fans. They have their entire season on there, and all three of us, we are fans of the Broadway in Chicago series, as well as all live theater, which is a part of what our show is dedicated to each week. So we were able to go backstage, capture some interviews with some of the talents and the previews of what's coming up. Some of these shows have already happened. Some are on their way. So there's enough for each of us to introduce. So I'm going to have Luke first read the first panel across your fan there of that lineup of shows.
Yep.
Starting with?
Yep, so we started off with Parade.
That is come and gone. This parade is past us, right? Mm-hmm. Did you see it, though, Luke?
Yep, sure did.
And?
It was terrific.
Based on a real story and real accounts, correct?
Yep, exactly. Based on the real accounts of, well, gosh, I can't exactly
remember. It was in the pencil factory,
No, yeah.
right? That was on the East Coast, I believe, and it happened on. Did it happen on Labor Day? It happened on the holiday when they were closed, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It might have been on Labor Day, come to think of it, and what happened in the real life trials and tribulations that happened. And I believe this it was down in the South, so this is where. It was not. I'm sorry. I was mistaken. They had family roots, I think, of Brooklyn, but they were in the South. The main couple that are their story as it unfolds. After that, this was here just for a brief time. I did not make it to this, but what was next?
Easier to remember this one, MJ the Musical.
That's right, exactly. Our own Michael Jackson, claim of fame from just down the road here in Gary.
Just had a birthday.
Just had a birthday. It's right, August birthday. And this we are going to hear a bit about. What's the next one there?
One of the most famous musicals and movies of all time, The Sound of Music.
And we're going to hear a little bit about this next one as well.
Hell's Kitchen.
Okay, so we're going to find out a little bit of there. Before we go on to our next panel, let's go ahead and have you introduce that first interview.
Yep,
Luke.
so we're going to start off with The Sound of Music and Jill Christine, who stars in it.
All right, take it away to our producer.
Sound of Music.
Hi, Phil Potempa of Notoriety, the column you read the Chicago Tribune Media, as well as our weekly radio show, WJOB, here on a little off location, welcoming our summer at the Pritzker Pavilion, Millennium Park. That special guest we have with us, we have Christine. Christine, you might know.
Jill Christine. My apologies.
That's right.
That's okay.
That's right. Jill Christine Wiley.
Yep.
We might know Maria from Sound of Music from a tour at an association that was 3 years. Correct?
Yes, 2019 was the last time Sound of Music made it stop here.
Cadillac Palace, right?
Yes, we brought the hills of Austria to
the Windy City, right?
the Windy City.
Well, you're back tonight because you're going to give a little taste for the wonderful Broadway in Chicago Millennium Park series that previews the entire season of fantastic shows. You're kind of an ambassador because the rest of the cast, you've been there, you've done it, so you know the songs. They're busy at rehearsal right now, correct?
They are. They're in New York City getting ready to launch the show. They'll begin technical rehearsals in a few weeks or in early September. So it's a busy, busy time right now.
I know a fun thing you told me off camera was that you even spent some time overseas, Asia part of a tour?
I did, yeah. Southeast Asia, they had a global tour as well.
So Sound of Music, it resonates around the world right away. They know the story, they know the characters.
It is most definitely a universal story with very important subject matter and a beautiful message, and it is a show for the young and the young at heart.
That's what you always love to say. Broadway in
Yeah.
Chicago brings in different productions that are really something for everybody. But if you're looking for that first family show, this is one that's so beloved, and you were phenomenal. I was there and in the audience applauding and ovation. So to have you back is so wonderful. I know you want to rest up before tonight, but we'll be looking for more of the Sound of Music as part of the schedule. Broadway in Chicago, do your homework and know that there's going to be plenty of smiles taking bows throughout this evening. Thank you for joining us.
Lovely to chat with you.
Sound of Music, of course, it's a beloved classic. It's whether it's the iconic movie or the musical that's been staged here for a number of our different venues, including our own Home Away from Home. I don't know if you realize this. Now, if you saw the Wall of Fame at some point, you would have saw that Theater at the Center did the Sound of Music.
Sound of Music.
That is a big cast. That's a lot.
How many kids alone are in that show?
Kids and nun habits.
And nuns,
right?
yeah.
There is a lot going on with the Sound of Music. So we go from a retro favorite, Luke, to one that is brand new. So tell us a little bit the last one on your panel there.
Yeah, so this is Hell's Kitchen. This is based on the upbringing of Alicia Keys, and it features a lot of Alicia Keys' hit songs. And the lead actress in this one is making her Broadway debut, and that is Maya Drake.
Very young, right?
Yeah, I think she's about 15 or 16.
All right, take it away. Let's see what she has to say.
Hi, this is Bill Potempa, host for OfNotoriety, the newspaper columnist with Chicago Tribune Media, also WJOB Radio as well. Each week we bring everything we want to mark on the calendar, all the events that are coming up. And today we're on location. It is truly summer. JP Pritzker Pavilion outside Chicago, Windy City downtown. And we're with some very, very notable talent. It's going to chit-chat and tell us about the latest and greatest with Broadway in Chicago's up-and-coming season. Marquees that are familiar with you and some names that are brand new. Hottest titles, and they're all coming to us this season. Welcome, Maya Drake. She is one of the titles that will be here. She's with Hell's Kitchen, and I put on this apron that has nothing to do with cooking your kitchens. Give us a fun little thumbnail description of Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, so Hell's Kitchen is a show that is set in Hell's Kitchen in New York in the 90s, and it follows the story of Allie, a 17-year-old girl who is trying to find her purpose in life, find herself, and the show celebrates the community that lifts her up, and it has incredible choreography. It's such a bright and energetic show, and there really is something in the show for every audience member.
And you're being humbled now. Includes somewhat the musical narrative, compliments of the wonderful music of
Alicia Keys.
with some of it being biographical that's sewn and woven into the story, which is so phenomenal. At age 17, you're such a young talent to be a part of the process, and you've been really involved in part of the show for how long now, would you say?
My audition process started about 5 months ago, and so since then I've just been, gotten to have some performance opportunities over the last couple of days to sort of celebrate and promote the show. So.
We're so fortunate. Our audiences in Broadway and Chicago, all the fans are going to get a tease and taste of it on stage tonight, and they're going to hear just a sample of what the show and the performance will be like. Have you spent much time in the Windy City here in Chicago for fun or for business?
I recently got here just a couple days ago, but since then I've been having a really great time. I got the opportunity to sing at the VIP Billiken breakfast, and as well as participate in the parade. And just the other day I got to sing at a church, so it was a great honor. But so far I'm loving it and very excited to be here and cannot wait to come back for when the show comes.
You're here at the perfect time of year, and we're so pleased that you're a part of it. It's time for you to do your homework. Broadway in Chicago, for all the tickets as they go on sale and as announcements come with the latest and the greatest. Maya, the next time we will see you, we'll be cheering for you from the audience. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for tuning in.
Hey.
And after you can see, it was a warm day there
Yeah,
in August
hot.
when we were there.
Hot August
And we
day.
needed these paper fans. From that contrast, we go to a winter favorite musical that is welcoming the holidays. I could see our own Tony Panek as the title star of this. Who needs Will Ferrell? What is the next
Right?
row?
It's the Christmas classic, Elf, right there. You know what? It's amazing. That movie blew up basically over the past decade, I feel like, and everybody loves it. But maybe I could audition. Maybe if
You
you're
could
still
do
in
it.
auditions. There.
And just for a couple of fun Easter eggs, if you're watching that movie and you're going to pause it, look for some notables, including there is the head elf that's a little grumpy, played by the one and only late great Bob Newhart,
Bob
right?
Newhart, yeah.
And then there's a supervisor elf from one of our local claim to fame, Christmas Classics. He starred in it when he was a young boy.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Peter Billingsley, right?
Yeah, he's got, I think, a red elf cap. He's just got a quick little spot in there.
Ed Asner's in there too, right?
And Ed Asner, I think, is our Santa in there,
yeah.
who also has appeared at Theater at the Center, the late, great Ed Asner. The next one for that, Tony, people might want to duck if they're in those prime seats in downtown Chicago. What's up next?
It's, of course, another classic of Broadway, The Phantom of the Opera.
The Center did a form of that as well, where we had the catacombs and the gondola going through, and of course there's that swinging chandelier we talked about. And then this one is something that is brand new, Tony.
Yeah, but the title here is the most Tony-nominated play of all time, Stereophonic. Never heard of this one, but it's kind of very popular on the scene.
And this one, I believe, we have one of the cast members, right? Luke, who do we have with us?
Yep, for sure do. We have the music director, Justin Craig.
All right, take it away, and we'll see what Justin has to tell us.
Hi, Phil Potempa, newspaper columnist, Chicago Tribune Media, Post Tribune, and WJOB Radio. Back for another installment of Notoriety. Each week bringing you everything you want to make sure you mark on the calendar. On location, in the middle of summer, in the middle of J.B. Pritzker Pavilion, and we are visiting with some of the talent. It's given a preview for Broadway in Chicago, what's to come, which is an exciting brand new season. All of the titles you're going to see on the marquee that will be here in the Windy City. We'll be doing some on-site interviews to give a bit of a tease. Justin Craig is up next, and in Stereophonic, right? I can say that in Stereophonic. Perfect. Yeah. You are somebody that, I tell you, a young talent whose reputation precedes you, but I'm reading about what you've done with this show. So, first of all, for the audience, the quick little synopsis thumbnail. The show's about
a band in the 1970s making an album in a recording studio. The audience is sort of a fly on the wall, watching the process happen.
And it's not a musical, but is it a play with music, or no, it's primarily play?
It's a play with lots of music.
Lots of music. So I want to describe it perfectly. You think musical, but the description was very clear that it mentioned play, and I'm thinking play with music really is kind of what the inspiration is. You've been involved with it long enough during the New York run, where there were some accolades and some awards and nods your way, correct? You're rather humble, but go ahead and share with us.
Yeah, so I've been involved with this show, helping develop it for like 10 years. And we did the off-Broadway version. It was a big success. We moved to Broadway. 13 nominations for Tony Awards, 5 wins. It was just kind of crazy that it all went that well.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud of how it went down in New York City. Yeah.
Well, and a lot of it has to do with the youth and the creativity that you embody yourself, and audiences are going to be so excited. A lot of the season we have some familiar titles and some that are brand new as well. So it's a perfect blend, just for fun. During the time, either off Broadway or on Broadway, you might have experienced it, or you heard hearsay from somebody. You'll never guess who's in the audience tonight, or backstage in the green room. I rubbed elbows with somebody. Is there some notariable names we can drop just for fun? Somebody you crossed paths with during that 13-year in that span that you heard the cast talk about?
I'll tell you one that was one of my favorite nights of my life. This just happened in London. We opened in London back in June, and Nigel Godrich came to the show. Oh. And I don't know if you know who he is, but he's a very, very famous record producer.
Yes. And
the show's about, the producers making a record, and he came to the show, and he loved it, and he wanted to hear all about it, and we got to hang out, and that was my favorite, celebrity audience.
And it's great to have you also in Chicago. Have you spent much time here in the Windy City in the past, either for fun or for business?
I was here performing in Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
I love that.
In 2017. I think we were here for 3 weeks.
I remember that. Yeah, that was, it was pre-pandemic, and that was a show where I didn't know what I was walking in. I loved it. I was on my feet with ovations.
I adore that show. I adore that whole crew. But yeah, we had a blast. I really loved being in Chicago.
Broadway in Chicago always brings the best of the best, and we're so fortunate to have them based right here in downtown, and to have you, even if it's just for one night. Thank you so much,
Thanks
Justin.
so much. Thanks.
We'll see you around the corner, and we'll see you soon as well.
All right, and the final offering on our middle row, Tony,
is... required reading when you were in junior high, The Outsiders, the best musical, Tony Award winner.
So that one is not one that's ever crossed paths with us here in downtown Chicago. So talked about a couple of familiar old titles, a couple that are brand new. I'm going to do the final ranking here on our roster, starting with The Great Gatsby. And I had some vintage barware out in the car, some champagne glasses that would have fit just fine on this desk to kind of give us our theme. Great Gatsby will be here. That's not played here before. Brand new. One that is very familiar that has not been back for a while, but I can remember being at the very first time they tested it out here, way back when Mel Brooks was here, and I believe he brought his wife Anne Bancroft with as well, the famous actress. This is Monty Python's Spamalot. Have you seen it? Have
Never.
you seen the musical? Either
Never.
of you?
You know what? I
No?
can't say I have. No, honestly. Yeah.
It is so clever and so funny, and got to keep name dropping here.
Yeah.
One that was done at Theater at the Center.
Really.
They've
Theater
Wow.
at the Center
played a lot
did
of these
that,
things.
and it's just so funny. There was a giant can of Spam that was somewhere lurking around there, and even if there's not, there is the Holy Grail, which is the giant goblet chalice, still in our prop room there. So we have to pull it out from time to
And
time.
it stands the test of time, right? When did that first come out?
That-
decades, right?
Yeah, that was way back in maybe 2000. I'm going to say 2003, 2004. I'm going to bet when it was tested out before.
Really? Okay.
Pre-Broadway.
Yeah.
I know it was. I'm sure it was after.
'Cause I remember seeing commercials. I think when I was a
9/11,
kid
say.
for it on TV.
All right. Well, you know what? Luke is good at fact checking. We have one more interview we were able to squeeze in when we were backstage at the J. Pritzker Pavilion, Millennium Park, just about a month ago on Monday, August the 11th. Water for Elephants was a feature film. That's the one I believe was at Robert Patterson,
Yeah,
right? In
yeah.
it, and it has now come to us as a musical. And I believe Luke captured one of the cast members.
We sure did, and we captured Zachary Keller.
All right, let's see what we got from Zachary. Meanwhile, Luke is going to find out when Spamalot first pre-tested out before it went to the Great White Way in New York.
Hi, Phil Potempa, newspaper columnist for Chicago Tribune Media, and also the host of OfNotoriety. Just like the newspaper column, the weekly arts radio show on WJOB. We are on location in beautiful downtown Chicago, and it's truly summer at the J.P. Pritzker Pavilion. And when it means summer, Broadway in Chicago has the wonderful tradition here in Millennium Park, giving a tease of what the next season holds on stage before that curtain goes up. We have with us Zachary Keller. He's going to talk to us a little bit about Water for Elephants. Tonight, we'll get a tease for the audiences. You're going to be up front and center, and you'll be doing just enough of a taste to tease us to get those audience packed in. Give us how long you've been with your timeline with this particular show.
Yeah, so I was actually fortunate enough to see the show when it was on Broadway. I actually have a friend who's a part of the costuming, and so I saw it, and I think a few months later I actually got a call to audition for the Broadway replacement, and I remember working on it in a coffee shop. Someone came up to me and they were like, I don't know what you're working on, but it's going to turn out for you. And it didn't turn out that time, but a year later, here we are. And
That
now,
was like a premonition, huh?
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
that is so exciting. Now, you're amongst friends here, so give us the honest, truthful answer. You were familiar with the material because I'd seen the movie, I'd seen part of the movie. Nope,
Yeah.
I'd never seen the movie.
Yeah, I had actually, I knew the story, I'd heard of it. I'd never seen or read the book, never seen the movie. So as I've been working on it, it's really fascinating to read the book, watch the movie, and, seeing the musical, understanding the differences. In the musical, they got to pack a punch. And I think that Rick Ellis, who's the book writer, he does a really good job at really packing in that punch. So
he's blended everything kind of perfectly to present some fresh elements, but also a few twists and turns along the way.
yeah, exactly.
So your adventure with this began how long ago? If we're in August right now, when did this all start?
Yeah, I auditioned for it back in, the first time I auditioned was last June. June of 2024 or something like that. So yeah, and then,
That's a quick timeline.
yeah. So then it came back around this summer and found out in June that I got it, and I was ecstatic and blessed to say yes.
Well, Broadway in Chicago always has a wonderful blend. Again, there's some marquee title things you might have seen, familiar favorites that come back, and then brand new, which is Water for Elephants. It's new for our audiences, and it's nice to have fresh new talent that also is paving the way. Last question, we're curious, have you spent any time in Chicago in the past, maybe vacation or for business, or no, this is one of the first times?
Yeah, well, I am proud to say I am from the Chicago suburbs, actually. I'm from Lake Zurich, Illinois, which some might not consider a Chicago suburb, but I do.
That's a stone's throw. That's included.
Yeah, all right. I'll take it. So I actually auditioned for a production of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang back in 2009 when it was touring, and that's when I got involved with my agent here and started doing regional theater in the Chicago theater scene. So I got to learn from the best here, and
Absolutely.
so I feel really grateful that I had parents that could support me in my career as a child, and then it carried with me into my
So
adulthood.
do you divide time between New York time and here, or no, you still say you're center based here, or no, you've got a place in New York for all those auditions and that side of your life?
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, I do kind of split my time. I mostly am based out in New York, but, you know, I've worked on Chicago shows like Chicago Med and Shameless and Chicago Fire, so things are constantly taking me back here, which I'll take, and it's a family, right?
Well, the next time we'll see you is tonight on stage, and then of course down the road when we were back with the tour. Lastly, one other maybe show or venue where somebody might have seen you previously in your Chicago world, previous to your Broadway world.
Yeah, so I have performed at Drury Lane a lot, the Marriott Theater. Once I performed at Steppenwolf, but this was, eons ago.
You're
So.
too young to say the word eons ago, but all great spaces, and we're so happy to have a great talent like you back home again. Thank you.
Okay. And we have the final one that's a capper here, at least of what's included on here. Broadway in Chicago has been known to slip in some other programming throughout the season, so you got to keep up with everything at BroadwayInChicago.com. But the last show on here is called Sept, and it's just an abbreviation for, you think, the suffrage movement that women did to fight for all the equality that happened over the years. So this musical will take you through a musical timeline that tells that history, where we've been, where we're at now, and what might be a look towards the future. Our last interview that we float in there mentioned that he had done a tour with the musical Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Yeah. Tony, know what it is or no?
Dick Van Dyke, right?
Luke, ever heard of it?
I've heard the name.
Yeah, it's kind of a sleeper. I feel like it's about the same time as Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And this one I don't think ever quite got the same acclaim for its, but we loved it as a kid. It's a flying car, right, Tony?
Yeah, the flying car, and they sing the song, of course.
Yeah, it went along with it.
Which we'll do now, I guess, for you.
No, we will not do that. No, but as kids, we used to get in trouble, my siblings and I, for subbing out the letters.
Got to be careful with that.
So that is a tricky one there as well. A great lineup, though, right? A lot of shows.
Yeah.
Broadway in Chicago, they always bring the hits. We promised we'd have Luke during that last segment do some fact checking. Mm-hmm. I think I was pretty close when we said, when did Spamalot first test out in Chicago before New York? And the answer to that was...
That's right, it did. It premiered here in Chicago at the Schubert, or the CIBC, what was formerly the Schubert, in December of 2004.
Okay. So with the previews, and then the actual opening was in January.
Yep, exactly.
And I think I said 2004, 2005. And then I mentioned that Mel Brooks was there in attendance, and his actress wife at the time, Oscar winner Anne Bancroft, which you both should know, if from nothing else, from the story of The Miracle Worker and Helen Keller, both on Broadway and in the famous movie that had Patty Duke in it. She played the teacher, Annie. That was just so phenomenal. That cast of Spamalot, too, when we were revisiting, and I had forgotten, was an all-star cast with David Hyde Pierce from Frasier. Remember, he played the Niles?
Okay, yeah.
And then the one that has all the voices from The Simpsons. That
Frank? Who was it?
He's got curly dark hair, and he was in The Birdcage. Hank Azaria.
Hank, not
Hank
Frank.
Azaria.
Hank.
And there's another one in there, too. Isn't there another notable?
Well, get this. As King Arthur, Tim Curry starred.
That's right.
Wow.
Tim Curry of Notoriety. Yeah, absolutely.
What a star.
All-star cast here before it went on to New York. That's what you get with Broadway in Chicago. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. And I thought about, 2005. That's 20 years I've been writing about it and sitting in those seats. But I knew I've been going far before that because I did before 9/11. When September 11th happened, I was supposed to go to the opening night of the Full Monty, and it got closed, of course, with everything that happened with the World Trade Center. So going on close to 30 years, we've had Broadway in Chicago bringing these wonderful Broadway tours and also launching what will go on to New York. So our audiences here in Northwest Indiana, Chicagoland, having the opportunity to see things first before it makes its way. We want to do that roster of theaters that are on our fan as our cheat sheet. The first one's right in the middle by the wooden stick there at the top with all the letters. Used to be the Schubert. What is it now, Luke?
It's the CIBC Theater.
And then next, Tony?
The Niederlander Theater,
Niederlander,
James
which
M. Niederlander Theater.
used to be what, Tony?
Oh,
Remember?
darn.
Like rugs?
Oh,
We
the
don't-
Oriental Theater.
Oriental
yes.
Theater, yes, exactly. Right along Randolph Street. I'll do the next one, the Cadillac Palace. And then a smaller one that's been transformative right there at Water Tower, Luke, is
The Broadway Playhouse.
all of them always bring in fantastic programming. Do your homework. Check out BroadwayInChicago.com to find out all of the latest titles, the run dates. Get your tickets. There's never a bad seat in at any of those theater spaces. And wouldn't you agree, all of them are just opulent on the inside.
Yeah, I mean,
It's so amazing.
stepping back in time and when those theaters.
Lots of gold gilding and chandeliers.
And a great selection of shows. I mean, something for everybody on this flyer
sure.
here.
It is. And with that, we're going to bid our viewers and our listeners a farewell. Thank you for joining us for our Broadway in Chicago preview of all the great things that are going to be happening, taking us through fall 2025 into 2026. And I bet there'll be some added surprises along the way. Always follow everything at BroadwayInChicago.com for the latest and greatest. I'm your host, Phil Potempa of Notoriety. Happily joined this morning by Luke Miller and Tony Panek helping out. And a shout out to our producer, right, Luke?
Yep, Adriana.
Thank you
Adriana.
so much.
There she is.
One of these times she's threatened that she's going to join us for these opening nights, and we're going to hold you to it, all right? Do your homework and do your pick. What's your favorite out of all these so
yeah.
I was
far?
gonna say when you guys go, actually when it comes to Chicago for that, I think it's 2 weeks. The Outsiders. I'll talk with you guys on that
All
one.
right,
Wow.
that's
Talk
fair
with you guys
enough.
on that
fair
one. So I
enough.
will be
Such a
going to
great
see
book.
that
Yeah.
one.
You know who's always after me all the time? That doggone Rob Aguirre.
Mm-hmm.
He knows things that are going to come before I even know. He's like, I think the Lion King is coming. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not even on my fan here.
I was going to
What?
say a lot of those are classic musicals. I know everybody's super excited for, especially Outsiders, Great Gatsby, and of course, classic Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, those are all the biggies.
Yeah.
Thank you, and thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you enjoy wherever the rest of your path takes you, be it morning, afternoon, or evening. We'll join you again next week.